Hey guys, I'm Dr. Paul. Welcome back to the video series. I want to talk to you today about eating for weight loss success, and we're really going to jump into the nuts and bolts of what we want to talk about for weight loss success in this video. There's going to be a lot of actionable information. I'm excited about this information. I tend to talk fast when I'm excited, so I'm going to try and slow it down. And if I'm talking too fast or mumbling too much, just mention it in the comments section. Tell me what I can do better. I want to be able to communicate effectively for you and help you in your weight loss journey. So at other points in this video series, other points on the channel, we've talked about hormones and hormones that can cause weight gain if they're not functioning properly. We've talked about medications that can cause weight gain and certain things you could do instead of those medications. So there's playlists on both those topics, and there's also a playlist on macros. I think it's very important to understand macros, to understand carbohydrates and proteins, to understand fats and even alcohol, to understand how all those things come together, and they need to really be properly managed and need to be thought about properly when you're just changing how you're eating in order to achieve weight loss success. Really, the number one issue we deal with weight gain is too much insulin. So I mean, thinking about and being just thoughtful about your diet and how you're eating is going to be the first step in just reducing those simple carbohydrates, reducing your insulin levels, and winning this weight loss battle over time. Okay, so unfortunately, like all good things, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. So there's a lot of ways to lose weight, and no one way works for every person. What works well for your friend may not work well for you, and vice versa, right? So I'm going to talk about a lot of strategies that are actionable strategies that you can use to have a healthier life, to have a healthier version of future you, to have a better life, right? But you just have to find and pick kind of what works within those strategies for you. So I'm going to mention a lot of things and try and put it in kind of a context that makes sense for you. I think that it's important that we understand that we're really talking about habit formation, that no matter what I talk about on here, these are all things that you can do. They're things I have done, my friends have done, my family has done, my patients have done successfully. Like, you can do it, right? So a lot of the things we talk about are just habit formation. Really, ultimately winning this weight loss game, this fitness game, is a matter of mindset. We're talking about building new habits, making the right choices over and over and over again, those little choices that add up to big results in the end. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear says, every action you take is a vote for the person you want to be. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. I love that quote. I think it's really good. And I think I really want to plug James Clear's Atomic Habits book. You could get it for free on Libby, like on your phone. You can get an app called Libby where you can just like get a library card and connect that to your Libby account, and you can get free books. Not every book's on there, but lots of books are. I believe that Atomic Habits by James Clear is on that, or you can go pick up a copy on Amazon. I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. I think for me, that was probably one of the most impactful books that I've ever read on just making new habits stick and making old bad habits go away. So I really, again, kind of like understanding macros and hormones and also medications that are causing you problems. I think that habit formation is foundational in your weight loss journey, in your fitness journey. So with all that being said, really what we need to do is create an eating plan that is like simple, that gets you the right kinds of foods in the right quantities at the right times. And when you do this, your insulin levels will reset. You'll control your insulin levels, and you'll work to control and reset that metabolic thermostat that I talked about in my video on insulin. That sort of sets your weight point, that weight set point that's really hard to get away from. Dropping those insulin levels is going to help you to navigate that and improve it. So a few simple rules that I like to kind of jump into when we talk about how to eat for weight loss success. I have to say it. I stole them from a guy named Tim Ferriss and his book, The 4-Hour Body, which is not a great medical book. I won't even call it a great book in general. But at that point in my life, when that book came out, 5 simple rules really helped me change my life. Because it was simple. Really, I think that you need something that you can think about easily, that you can recall easily, and that you can put into action really easily. Like, complicated things just don't work, like in most realms of life. Because the strategy only has 5 rules, like I mentioned, I'm going to talk about it or refer to it as the 5-rule strategy. In order to be successful, we need a plan that is easy to understand and easy to do. As I said, I think when I keep it simple, or when you keep it simple, you'll be able to get started with it and find success quickly. Success is kind of like a snowball. A little bit of success really adds up, and into something big. I find the 5-rule strategy pretty easy to remember, and I never felt like I was suffering when I was adhering to it. So I'll talk about what the 5 rules are, and then I'm going to dive into each of the 5 rules and sort of tease it apart and explain it a little bit further. So the first rule number 1 is never, ever, ever drink your calories. Do not drink your calories. You're not a baby cow. You don't need milk. You certainly don't need alcohol, and all that pop you've been drinking. Even the diet pop is very bad for you and is a cause of weight gain. Even if you're having like 1 soda or pop, depending on where you're from, 1 carbonated sweetened beverage a day, even like fruit juice, all these things are mainly full of just sugars, right? So don't drink your calories. 2, don't eat anything white. And I'm gonna define that as white bread, I'll even say for the sake of weight loss, any kind of bread. So bread, pasta, potatoes, tortillas, crackers, cookies, and I shouldn't have to say junk food, but I'll say it. No fruit. We'll dive into that later. I'm not crazy, I promise. And then eating the same thing over and over again, which most of us do anyway. I mean, we're all creatures of habit. And if you really look back at what you've eaten in the last week, you've probably eaten something over and over again, or at least something similar to last week or the week before. So that one's not too bad. And really it's all about cutting down on decision fatigue and just making things very easy for you, as easy as possible. And then taking a cheat day. So taking a cheat day or a cheat meal, the less you cheat, the better you'll do. But for instance, when I was really enacting these 5 rules, my wife likes to bake sometimes, my daughter likes to bake, my sons like to bake, and I would just take the brownies that they made that look so good and I'd throw them in the freezer and I'd say, Dad's having that on Saturday. So that would be my day if I wanted to have an adult beverage or if I wanted to have a sweet treat, then it's gonna happen on that one day. But aside from that, we're not cheating, okay? So that's gonna be a big change for a lot of people, but just 1 cheat day or 1 cheat meal. And really like, it's gonna narrow your decisions down too. Like you're not gonna have to say, hey, do I go out to eat tonight? No, it's not your cheat day. So I'm gonna dive further into each of those rules, but those are the 5 rules. Don't drink your calories, don't eat anything white, no fruit, do the same thing all the time and have a cheat day. So let's dive into rule number 1. Never, ever, ever drink your calories, right? So as I said before, most calories we drink are empty, low value calories. These consist mostly of carbohydrates, which in previous videos we talked about, those are just sugars, right? So most of these consist of sugars, alcohol in the case of alcohol, and fats in the case of milk and things like that. So we don't need juice, pop, alcohol, like you don't need those things to live. I've actually had patients who say, I don't drink water. Like which is just like being a human being and saying you don't drink water is, I can't get my head around that, but like people say I don't drink water. Get used to drinking water. Water, good old fashioned water. I actually have around here somewhere, I've got some carbonated water that I carbonated on my soda stream. I'm really into that these days. I really like Spindrift. There may be a couple of calories in that, but unsweetened tea, black coffee, like really the winner is water. Water, unsweetened tea, black coffee, like those are your friends. If you load your coffee full of creamer in the mornings and you're like, you've just got this habit where you have to have coffee with creamer and sugar on it in the mornings, please stop doing that. Like I've had people come into my office that are just beside themselves with their inability to lose weight. And they've got like this monster jug of like whatever mocha frappuccino latte from whatever Starbucks type place there is around here. And it's like there's enough calories in that drink itself. I'm sure it's delicious, but to sustain you for like a day, right? So please stop putting creamer and sugar in your coffee. Now, if you need something like that, like I really like Fairlife as far as I like a number of different protein brands, but I really do like Fairlife. We have some other protein type drinks that we also, my wife and I will use for creamer in our coffee in the morning. It gives you a little bit of sweetness and adds a little bit of protein to your daily intake, and it's pretty good. So that's just kind of a nice little pointer that a lot of people haven't thought of. Again, Fairlife protein shakes, so caramel, ooh, so good. Vanilla too, those are great. So people ask about diet pop. I think the more I learn about diet pop, the more I learn about artificial sweeteners and aspartame and sweeteners in general, the more I feel like this is probably not a good thing. They've been shown to basically interact with your gut bacteria in such a way that you're increasing insulin levels anyhow. So I will not say that the diet pop is good for you. Like if you're a hardcore Mountain Dew drinker, I literally have people who drink a case of Mountain Dew a day. I've met that guy or that girl, and it's like if you have to have a diet pop or 2 a day to just get you down the pathway for this thing, fine, I get it. But generally speaking, I would really get away from artificial sweeteners. Some good studies are out there that show that artificial sweeteners will still raise your insulin levels by up to about 20%. And we know that our battle here is really against insulin. So artificial sweeteners are best to avoid if possible. Like if you're really looking to sweeten some food or sweeten a beverage or what have you, using stevia or monk fruit, type in the comments if you've actually heard of monk fruit, because I've never actually, maybe once, I don't know. I don't think I've actually heard of monk fruit, if I'm going to be honest. But I've used a lot of stevia, and stevia is a very natural product. Of all the artificial sweeteners that I won't say are good for you, that one is probably like my choice of the best one of them, right? So monk fruit and stevia are both natural. They have no calories. They're not going to spike your insulin levels as much as something like aspartame would. So anyway, the best idea is to drink as much water as possible, about 4 liters per day for men and 3 liters per day for women. That seems like a ridiculous recommendation. That's a lot for people with healthy kidneys, that sort of thing. I try to take down at least a liter of extra water in the morning and a liter in the afternoon. I think it's very helpful. So I really like the satisfying nature of Spindrift, or like a non-caloric fuzzy. I'm okay on bubblies, but just like a carbonated water to me has been very helpful to take the place of things like beer, things like pop, things that are satisfying and fizzy and cold. Like bubbly waters have been very helpful for that. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have a Soda Stream. I really like my Soda Stream. I like making my own like little squeeze of lime and some purified water and that thing. I feel really fancy drinking it. It's really nerdy of me, but I like that. So to me, that's kind of gotten me away from beer, honestly. And a number of patients of mine too, I've had them use that instead of beer, and they find it satisfying and relaxing, and it's a heck of a lot better for you, honestly. If you're really into beer, you might like hop water. So I know that like Lagunitas, and there's a few other brands out there that actually make a hop flavored water, and it tastes a lot like an IPA if you're an IPA fan. So those are pretty good. Okay, rule number 2. That's kind of rule number 1. Don't drink your calories. Rule number 2: no fruit. And I feel like a crazy pants saying that to a lot of people, because fruits are supposed to be good for you and all that. And I think generally speaking, fruits on the whole, compared to the average American diet, fruits are good, but fruits are also loaded with a simple sugar called fructose. Now, fructose is what bears eat in quantity when they're trying to hibernate. So what does a bear eat before it goes to sleep for the entire winter? Berries, because the fructose in the berries make the bear want to eat more berries, and then that makes it want to eat more berries, and it just gorges itself on all these berries, and then it goes to sleep for a couple of months or whatever it is. So, fructose leads to massive spikes in your insulin level. And again, we are really working to avoid that. We're working to decrease our insulin levels over time. And actually, fructose in those berries or in those fruits in general will increase your hunger. So like, again, it just becomes this cycle. So if you're gonna eat fruit, like I know I just told the berries story with the bear and stuff like that, but like if you're gonna eat fruit, berries are probably your best bet. They're gonna be better for you than things like apples and oranges and bananas. And I like to eat apples, oranges, and bananas too, like everybody else. But I would say that like if you're trying to lose weight and you want to eat some fruit, having something like a protein pairing with berries, if you're going to do some kind of fruit, do berries. So whether that's like a peanut butter thing, which has quite a bit of calories in it, or you're doing like a Greek yogurt, which I love. I love Oikos 000 Greek yogurts. You can buy them by the case at Sam's Club, and we go through a lot of them because I have a lot of kids, and we try to keep healthy food around. So. Some berries on some Oikos yogurt is a great replacement for like if you're into like carby snacks or sweet snacks. Like that satisfies a lot of sweetness for some people. Going for strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and lemon and lime aren't too bad in sugar either. And I like to flavor my drinks with those. So again, I'd stay away from fruit while you're trying to lose weight. Like in this like mad dash to achieve fitness, I would really try and limit the fruits. Yes, there's whole fruits have good fibers. It's certainly a better carbohydrate than a lot of other carbohydrates, but for the time being, we'll say no fruit, right? Okay, rule number 3, and this is a really big one: don't eat anything white. So this is about avoiding simple carbohydrates, all of which cause blood sugar spikes and insulin release from your pancreas. So what food is white? Okay, pasta, rice, and again, I would say brown or white rice when you're trying to lose weight. Potatoes, sweet or white, and sweet's gonna be better for you, just like brown rice is better than white rice. But in this moment, we're avoiding pasta, rice, potatoes, and breads. And simple sugars too. So like, I don't know, gummy bears, right? So any kind of sweet kind of junk food, we're gonna try, ice cream. Halo Top. Halo Top's good if you're gonna be on your cheat day eating ice cream. Halo Top has a lot less sugar and a lot more protein in it than other ice creams, but avoiding junk foods as well. So all the foods I just mentioned contain massive amounts of simple sugars. Granulated sugar, white rice, white bread, those things are like table sugar. Those are all very simple sugars, okay? So you're gonna eat that and your body's gonna be like, bam, just give you a huge spike of insulin. Whereas like brown rice, whole wheat bread, that sort of thing, they're better. Again, they're better. Your insulin spike's gonna be a lot smoother and sort of less lesser than those simple sugars, but all those things will cause your pancreas to release insulin. They'll direct your body to store more fat than things like meat, eggs, higher protein-rich foods would do. Okay, simple carbohydrates, I should mention, are very addictive. Okay, candies, pies, ice cream, potato chips, sweets in general. Those things are very addictive, spike not only insulin, but also spiking dopamine. So like if you have emotional sort of baggage, if you deal with your problems by eating, like you're not alone, you're in really good company. And there's a really good reason you do that. It's because your feel-good chemical, your dopamine, spikes up whenever you eat those really simple carbohydrates, those crackers, chips, sodas, all those things. They feel really good. You get I'll call it like a little bit of a dopamine buzz when that happens. It's really kind of wild. Those sugars are literally addictive. So the first week of getting away from those simple sugars is really rough for most people. But once you get away from simple sugars after 1 week or 2 weeks, really you feel a lot better and you don't have those same cravings that you used to. You have some cravings, yes, but you'll feel a lot better, honestly. It's helpful to realize whatever you buy at the grocery store, you're going to eat later on. So I think going to the grocery store not hungry is a good idea. Get a full stomach on some good healthy food and then go get your groceries, or even order for pickup. And I've got some meal planning tools later in the course that we'll use that certainly will help you just order a pickup meal for a quicker, easier construction of a homemade, wholesome, whole food type of meal. So getting away from pre-processed foods going to be really important. And going to the grocery store when you're full or not hungry is important too. I mentioned a little bit earlier about satisfying your sweet tooth. I think you can do that while satisfying your protein intake using those Greek yogurts. I like fresh or frozen berries. I like chia seed. I like PB2 powdered peanut butter for a little bit of extra flavor and sweetness and just satisfaction in some of those sweets and kind of treats. I do keep several kinds of high protein snacks on hand. I really do like Built bars. So if I'm going to choose a protein bar, and I've really kind of come to try to walk away from any pre-processed food because I think they all contain certain seed oils that are just not good for you. But if I'm going to do a pre-processed food, if I'm going to do a protein bar, it's going to be Built bars, B-U-I-L-T. They're delicious. They're full of protein. They kind of taste just like a candy bar. You can overdo it, so be careful. But Built bars are nice to have on hand. As far as protein powders go, I think protein shakes and protein powders are good to incorporate just to try and satisfy some of that sweet tooth as well. I like Dymatize protein powder. I'll try and put a link on that below. Also, Dymatize, Dymatize. That's probably my favorite protein powder. It's smooth. It tastes good. It comes in a ridiculous number of flavors, whether it's like Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles or chocolate or vanilla or whatever. So yes, I know that the Fruit Loops ones probably has some weird dye in it. I haven't looked at the label. I don't know. I've actually never even had that one, but I want to say there's lots of different flavors. And I really do like the vanilla. It is good. And kind of circling back around to the Fairlife protein shakes. I love Fairlife protein shakes. They're really good. You can get them in bulk at Sam's Club, but Sam's Club around here only has the chocolate kind as of the making of this video. I don't know why. They had caramel and they had vanilla before and they were so good, and I wish they would bring them back. So if you work at Sam's Club and you're watching this video, please tell your manager to bring the good Fairlife shakes back. That's not going to happen, but they are good, and you can get them at Walmart or a number of, I think Hy-Vee carries them too. So Fairlife protein shakes in your coffee in the morning, it's very good. Okay, I also want to say that some people's colons will simply rebel if you drink a lot of protein fast. So like if you're watching this video series and you just turned over this like new rock in your life and you're like, I'm going to do this fitness thing and I really want to, this is the first day of the rest of my life and I'm going to go get some protein. That's good, do that, but please be patient with yourself in terms of how much protein shake you're eating at once, because your colon might not be as excited as you are about jumping into this fitness journey. So I would say starting with a scoop of protein shake, and you might have to use a little bit of milk with that to start with. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself, but a little bit of milk to begin with if you're using the Dymatize, because it tastes a lot better than with water. But you could do water, you can do water, don't hate me. These are just ideas for you, right? So generally speaking, don't drink your calories. But if you're drinking a protein shake, you're already drinking calories, presumably replacing a meal. So maybe you put a little bit of milk in that protein shake and you're happier. And you don't drink too much of it to begin with and your gut's happier, right? Okay, and then also I mentioned before, if you love ice cream, Halo Top is going to be a winner. your checkbook's not going to like it, but as compared to like whatever brand of ice creams out there. But Halo Top has much fewer calories and a lot more protein. It tastes awesome. I try and get it for a treat, especially for my family. They really like it. So you can usually get it on sale and it's not as bad. But you shouldn't be eating that much ice cream anyway. So having some Halo Top on occasion is a real treat, honestly. So these are just suggestions for ways I've personally found long-term success and satisfaction with food while still avoiding simple sugars. I mean, for the most part, I am a sucker for Eileen's Colossal Cookies and pretty much any kind of cheesecake. So thank goodness for the cheat day that I'm going to mention in the future here. So rule number 4. Eat the same things all the time. And this is going to be a little bit shorter. Try to remember that like we're not foodies on a journey right now. Like you could be some with this, but we're not foodies on a journey. We're just really eating for results. I think if you can learn to see your food as medicine, man, food, sleep, exercise are the best medicine in the world. And if you can learn to see your food as medicine and carefully select high protein, ideally not processed foods, and steer away from simple carbohydrates like white foods that I mentioned before, you'll simplify your time, you'll simplify your money and your energy you spend to try and figure out your diet. So if that sounds kind of vague, don't worry, we're going to give an example of that diet in a little bit here. Eating the same thing all the time can seem kind of boring, but if you think about it, like I said before, most of us are creatures of habit and we're eating the same things on a pretty regular basis anyway. So making food in bulk in the weekends to use during the week, also called meal prepping, will save you time, energy, and money. I like to grill a ridiculous amount of chicken on the weekends if I can. That makes my life easy during the week. I don't have to think about what I'm going to take to lunch, right? Trying to eat the same meals every day most of the time is easy to do for breakfast and lunch, especially if you got some flexibility with your evening meal. Even then, I'd recommend a thoughtful, well-planned set of evening meals, like in a limited rotation. This is not food as entertainment, though it can be very delicious. It's food designed to make you healthy as well as achieve the body and fitness you desire. And I like to think about it like this, if you could think about the food you eat as your medicine and you're part of a grand experiment, what could your results be? Like if you changed your life, if you changed the way that you do things, the way you feed your body, the way you feed the machine, like what great results could you get? Like it's a cool experiment. So rule 5. So I'll say one last thing about rule 4. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I find it pretty easy to eat 3 eggs and some salsa every morning, right? So that's a good example of just eating the same thing all the time. I mentioned a little bit about meal prepping earlier. So I mean, I like to grill a ridiculous amount of chicken, like I said, on the weekends. Maybe we'll broil some non-starchy veggies, and I can take that as my lunch every day, honestly. So I have the same lunch every day, the same breakfast every day, and then we typically eat as a family at nighttime, and so we try and make some healthy choices with that. But simplifying things for the things you can control is really helpful. I mean, I've got over-the-road truckers that I take care of. I tell them the same thing. You're home on the weekends, make yourself a big batch, take yourself a cooler. You've got a refrigerator in there, and just so you're going to get hungry. Like you're going to eat tomorrow. Like we're probably going to eat tomorrow unless you're fasting. But all of us are going to eat tomorrow. So making some plans for future you is good. So if you got some high quality protein and some good healthy veggies there that you enjoy eating and maybe a healthy sauce on that, that's good. That wins every time. Rule 5, take 1 day off per week. So, I mean, I think that's like mandatory, right? So you don't have to think of yourself as suffering through something terrible for the rest of your life. Like this is not a diet I'm talking about. This is talking about how you feed your body, like changing how you eat, changing how you feed yourself. Yes, with this strategy, you get a cheat day. You can go wild, kind of within reason. But the less you go wild, the better you're going to do, honestly. So again, this strategy lets me know that I'm not permanently depriving myself of the foods I love, and I've got something special to look forward to at the end of the week. So so I've been on this fitness journey for the last couple of years. I will say that after you've avoided sugars, simple sugars especially, high carbohydrate foods like bread, all the white foods I talked about, right? You'll look better, you'll feel better. You'll have less gut inflammation. Your joints will hurt less. You might not even feel very well after eating a high carbohydrate meal after you've been off of sugars for a little while. Like now, like I said earlier, I'm a sucker for Eileen's Colossal Cookies, and if you give me 2 of those, I'll fall asleep like immediately. I'm just not used to that insulin spike. So this is all about changing how you feed your body, and you will like how you feel after you get away from those simple carbohydrates. Yes, the first week will be difficult, but after that it gets better. I find that staying off of simple sugars, my weights are more stable. Following the rules, my joints feel better. My body doesn't hurt as much. I'm in my mid 40s and things hurt, but they don't hurt as much. And so my energy levels are a lot better. I sleep better, honestly. I think this 5-rule strategy is something that most people can do without too much pain, honestly. I'll give you an example of that kind of eating within 5 meals, like what a day might look like. I'll give you a link to that in the description here, so you can say, okay, I'm still a little hazy on how I should eat now. Like I know I shouldn't do these things, but what do I eat? And so I'll give you an example, right? So in this video, we've laid down 5 simple rules. Don't drink your calories, nothing white, no fruit, do the same things, eat the same things over and over again, and take a cheat day, or I would even say better yet, a cheat meal. Honestly, this lays a good foundation down for getting the right food in you at the right times, in the right quantities, and overall aims at not spiking your insulin levels. There, so that's a good starting point for you. In our next video, I'm going to cover actionable resources, strategies, and services that will help you consistently power your body with nutritious, high quality foods in less stress and headaches. I'll see you there. Thanks.